Good evening, everyone. One of the most powerful voices in the NFL is caught up in a prostitution scandal tonight. Florida authorities say Robert Kraft, the billionaire owner of the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots, has been charged with misdemeanor counts of soliciting sex. The alleged acts took place at a Jupiter, Florida day spa, one of nearly a dozen spas where investigators think young female workers were actually human trafficking victims. With details, we start with Kerry Sanders.
Today, police in Florida identified 77-year-old Robert Kraft as one of more than 24 men who allegedly frequented this massage parlor, a front, say investigators, for prostitution.
We're as equally stunned as everybody else, or, of notoriety that would be arrested.
This was one of 10 spas closed after a 6-month investigation of massage parlors across the state. Several alleged conspirators were taken into custody and hundreds of arrest warrants issued for the men investigators say visited the establishments. The coordinated takedowns were a result of round-the-clock surveillance with cameras outside and hidden cameras inside.
The video that we obtained, it shows the act that took place. On every gentleman that you have a list of, the act that took place is recorded on that video.
Investigators say Kraft, who has a home in Florida, visited twice. One of those trips, they say, was just 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. A spokesman for Kraft says, "We categorically deny that Mr. Kraft engaged in any illegal activity. Because it is a judicial matter, we will not be commenting further." The case was launched after a complaint to the health department and quickly became a multi-agency investigation into both sex and human trafficking. Women from China, some as young as 24 years old, tricked, say police, into thinking they were coming to New York for legitimate jobs. Instead, they were sent to some of the now shuttered Florida massage parlors, whose owners did not respond to NBC's requests for comment. Police arrested these 2 women this week accused of luring some of the unsuspecting victims. Detectives say many of the women from China who did not speak English were forced to eat and live where they worked. As for why they didn't leave?
Fear, intimidation, debt, shame, the whole 9 yards when they get here. And they're stuck, and they're truly victims.
Kraft, who now faces misdemeanor charges of soliciting a prostitute, could face 60 days in jail if convicted. Kerry Sanders, NBC News, Jupiter, Florida.
Also breaking tonight, the bombshell involving R. Kelly, the music star who has been trailed by allegations of sexual misconduct for years, has now been criminally charged with sexually abusing multiple underage victims. NBC's Rahema Ellis has the latest.
Tonight, R. Kelly is facing charges for sexual abuse spanning more than a decade, from 1998 to 2010.
Earlier today, Robert Kelly was indicted before a Cook County grand jury on 10 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse involving 4 victims.
Prosecutors say 3 of the alleged victims were between 13 and 17 years old. Geronda Pace is one of them. In January, she told Dateline she began a relationship with Kelly when she was 16.
If I didn't agree to having sex with him or performing, I would be locked in a room.
The charges come a week after Michael Avenatti said he gave authorities a video showing Kelly having sex with a 14-year-old girl. Avenatti says he represents 2 alleged victims. One was included in today's indictment. For years, the singer has been under suspicion of sexually abusing young women. In 2008, he was acquitted of child pornography charges. 52-year-old Kelly has consistently denied all allegations against him, and his lawyer has said Kelly never knowingly had sex with anyone underage.
They're making him a sacrificial lamb for their own sake, and there's no merit to any of this.
The embattled singer came under renewed scrutiny last month after a docu-series revealed explosive allegations of sexual, mental, and physical abuse. Soon after, the Chicago prosecutor made a plea for any victims to come forward.
We cannot seek justice without you.
Tonight, several have. If convicted, Kelly could face up to 70 years in prison. Rahema Ellis, NBC News.